Hi, these comments are for AP. This is Michael from BetterTOEFLScores.com. And how are you doing today? I'm listening to an integrated speaking practice test that you sent me yesterday. I have the actual rubrics right here. And let's get started. Let's see how you did on this one.
Groupthink is a process in which one individual person has to follow or support other majority people in bad or irrational decisions.
Other majority of people. I would say a majority of people or other people who. So I think that's a language use issue there. So be careful about your word choice. And the word other, that TH sound is an interdental consonant. You're saying more like other, other. But the only way to pronounce that sound correctly is to have that TH. You have to have your tongue in between your teeth. Other, other.
For instance, professor decided to build a new computer model to attract customers, but his senior
But you need to kind of frame this with a topic. So how do you do that? So in the beginning, you might say the
managers
you might say the reading passage explains an academic concept called groupthink, and the professor in the lecture gives an example to illustrate the idea. Then you say, first of all, according to the reading passage, groupthink is defined as, right, and explain that. And then say, in the lecture, the professor expands on, or the professor gives an example, blah, 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 to illustrate this idea more.
opposed his idea, although his idea was good for the company. Other employees also followed a senior manager's decision. At the end, professor has
Okay, so when you're explaining these ideas, you're having some problems with what's called both rhythm and pacing. So, and this affects your speaking rate, which is something that the TOEFL looks at, and also your pause frequency. So, I think you need to improve your sentence rhythm and also what's called thought groups and blending. You can learn more about these in the pronunciation section of your online course that you're taking with me right now. So I would review those, practice those. I'd even recommend if you can fit it into your budget, some private lessons, maybe one lesson for maybe 2 months, and each week we can go over some of these areas to help you improve your pronunciation so you can speak more clearly.
to drop his idea and followed a senior manager.
Okay,
That same year, other computer company made a huge profit
let's go back to what you just said there.
idea and followed a senior manager. That same year, other computer company made a huge
Instead of saying other computer company, I would say another computer company made a huge.
profit by designing new model while professor's company faced huge loss.
Yeah, and I don't really see how you're tying in this idea of groupthink into the example. I think the connection wasn't quite clear there. So you have to do a little bit better there. I think based on what you did, it looks like you're in the two area. I think that if you look at the delivery for the two for integrated speaking, you have some problems with not just pronunciation, but intonation and pacing. And it makes it difficult to understand what you're saying. So it says problems with intelligibility may obscure meaning in places, right? I'm going to say yes. Okay, I think with your language use, you have limited range and control of vocabulary. So, for example, you're not sure the difference between other versus another. And when you explain the professor's ideas, I would actually use present tense verbs to introduce his points. Now, when you get into his example, you can use past tense verbs at that point. And then for topic development here, I'm looking at it. I think you make vague references to key ideas. It says ideas expressed may not be well connected or cohesive, so familiarity with the stimulus is necessary to follow what is being discussed. I think that's also true. It means I have to go back to the reading passage. I have to go back to the lecture and listen to that information to fully understand what groupthink is and how the example illustrates that idea. Okay, so I'm going to give you a score here of maybe 16 points out of 30 on this practice test.